The answer is to find a way to love yourself. Hey everybody, my name's Jesse. It's great to see you again. Ever since early 2018, I have read a lot of self-help books. I have become something of a self-help guru, self-appointed. Based on my experience reading all these self-help books, I feel like I'm able to offer a little bit of a comparative analysis on what makes a really helpful self-help book versus what makes a self-help book that reinforces all the wrong things in the reader's life. I feel very certain that I've read both kinds of books. I've read some really incredible and amazing books. I've read a couple of really terrible books. There have only been a couple of books that I didn't finish. But when you compare the ones that I didn't finish with the ones that I swear by and recommend to other people, I think there's a lesson to be learned, not just about the books themselves or the people who wrote them, but about the philosophy that they embody. The audiobook that I've listened to most recently is called Before Happiness by Shawn Achor. It's this incredibly positive book. It talks about how we can choose to become happier people, promote happiness in our world, show a shining light of happiness to the people around us, and make them happier too. It's kind of like what I was talking about in my last video. Improve the world by improving yourself. If you improve yourself, it rubs off on the people around you. It's exactly the sort of thing that Shawn Achor is talking about in his book, Before Happiness. That if you exude happiness, then the people around you are going to exude more happiness as well. You will experience more happiness in your life. They will also experience more happiness in their lives, and they will be so happy to know you. There's another book that I read and I loved so much that I read it again, and if you know me personally, then you've already heard me talking about it many times in the short time since I read this book. It's called Personality Isn't Permanent by Benjamin Hardy. And he really focuses his whole entire book on this concept that rather than being stuck in who we've become due to past events, rather than accept the personality that we've developed in response to the events of the past, we can choose where we want to go with our life, and based on that choice, we can choose the steps that we're going to take. We can follow through with those steps and achieve incredible things with our lives. Benjamin Hardy's argument is that by choosing the direction that we want to take our lives in, we can become the person we want to be. Hardy says you don't have to accept being who you are now. You can become the person that you want to be in the future. And you know, that message really resonates with me. I'm not always entirely happy with the direction my life has gone. I've made some mistakes. The people around me have made some mistakes. If I had to simply accept everything and say, you know, where I am with my life is the best that it's going to get, that's not a very positive message. It is the sort of discouraging message that one hears from trolls on social media. And so I've heard that message a lot, but I consider it very negative, kind of depressing, almost abusive, which is why I did not finish a book recently. Recently I began to listen to an audiobook called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and I did not finish this book. I usually do finish books, so the fact that I didn't finish this book kind of says a lot about the book itself and my relationship to that book's message. It's exactly the same thing that I just said about social media trolls. I found his message discouraging, depressing. Manson wants to tell you to just accept where you are in life and be happy with that. That's great, I guess. Except if you're reading self-help books because you're not happy with where you are in life, then it's not a very helpful message. In his book, he repeatedly devolves into personal attacks and name-calling against people who don't subscribe to this philosophy, including himself. He calls himself names. I'm personally of the opinion that name-calling and abusive language, accusations and blame are a form of hate, and hate is not the answer. If you're experiencing problems in your life, the answer is not to hate yourself. The answer is to find a way to love yourself. So to me, there's a really remarkable contrast between these different types of books. Manson's book on the one hand, and Achor and Hardy on the other hand. You've got, on the one hand, Manson telling you, just accept your life and get over yourself. And Achor and Hardy, on the other hand, saying, you know, if you want to do better, then you can. For myself personally, I found the positive message to be a lot more encouraging. I found the positive message to be a lot more positive. The positive message was what I needed to hear, and the mean-spirited, this is what you need to hear, and I know you're not gonna like it, was just mean, and it didn't help anything at all. So if you're the kind of self-help book author who goes around telling people that you know they're not going to want to hear and they're not going to like it and it's probably not going to be helpful, then you might want to ask yourself, why are you writing a self-help book? It's not actually helpful, I think, is the real problem. The book itself is not actually helpful. If you want to write a self-help book, try and write a book that helps people. In a broader sense, the way I think of it, there are two kinds of self-help books. There are books that make you feel bad about yourself, and there are helpful books. There are too many self-help books whose whole purpose is to make you feel bad about yourself. The authors who write these kinds of books have this attitude that maybe if they just shame you enough, then you'll go out and fix all your problems on your own. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology. When you shame someone, they double down. Guaranteed. Every time. When you shame someone, they double down. I said it twice because I mean it. So encouragement is a much more effective way of helping people to change their lives than shaming, name-calling, accusations. It's not helpful to call names. If we want to help people, we start by treating them as our fellow human beings. If we want to help people, we start by having compassion for them and seeing them as a reflection of themselves. If we want to help others, we start by improving ourselves. We start by improving our own outlook on the world and the way we treat the people around us. Don't be content with your flaws. Learn how to be a better person. Think of the examples of people like Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi. They didn't just accept their flaws. They didn't just decide they were good enough as they were. They went out into the world and tried to figure out what they could do to make the world a better place. We can't all be Gandhi or Mother Teresa, but we can all decide to be the best version of ourselves. And if we do all decide to be the best version of ourselves, that will rub off on the people around us and make the world a better place by extension. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button, and you never know what I'm going to say next time. So I look forward to talking with you then. Leave a comment, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks again.